What's going on, guys? It's me, it's Obly, and today I wanted to walk you through all of the frost changes coming at midnight. There's nowhere near the type of rework that Unholy is getting, but we've already had our rework this season. It's nice to know that kind of it doesn't all come at once, because then I think it would be quite overwhelming if Unholy and Frost both had their reworks in the same patch. So I'm happy with it being this way, but Frost feels very fleshed out. There's a couple new things added into Frost. Whether or not they're good changes, I don't know yet. We'll find out. But join me, we'll just talk about it now. Okay, so first things first is we'll go over the developers' notes for what they want out of Frost. So in Midnight, we are looking to iterate on the Ghost of Crest Frost Death Knight rework by implementing better tuning knobs to allow for the two prominent builds, Frostbane and Breath of Sindragosa, to be able to compete in single target situations. This is something that we really wanted out of Frostbane. It's practically the only thing that Frostbane missed. Breath of Sindragosa could do everything Frostbane could, but with the addition of single target. So it's just like, why would you ever do that? Why would you ever go down the Frostbane build? But we're also updating Obliterate to be partially dealing frost damage so that we can fine-tune the throughput difference between casting it with Killer Machine and without, where we believe is needed. So if you didn't know, Obliterate, when you didn't have a Killer Machine attached to it, was just physical damage, and when you did have a Killer Machine, it then became frost damage, so it would benefit from things like Gaia Mastery. Next thing they put in is the Apex talent, so Chosen of the Frost Brood. So Frostworm's Fury deals 100% increased damage to the first enemy it hits and grants you 15% haste. That's alright, that gives you an additional global in Pillar. Can't say no to that, really, at least, minimum. Then the second point, or the second 2 points I suppose you could say, casting Frostworm's Fury forward grants 25/50 runic power, recalling it grants 1/2 Killer Machine stacks. This is going to be interesting to find where this fits in our burst rotation. I can imagine that this would be, you would do something like Reaper's Mark, then spend that Reaper's Mark stack, then go for a Frostworm's Fury, then burst, then you really quickly have your Bone Grinder stacks, because you don't have a long Reaper's Mark anymore going into the next season. You have 40 stacks of Reaper's Mark instead of 55, so that window to pop it in Bone Grinder is a lot smaller. Then the last point, Frostworm's Fury deals 100% increased damage. After the Frostworm flies away, you may cast again to recall it at 50% effectiveness. Yeah, not too interesting. I mean, we weren't really using Frostworm's Fury, but thematically, I fucking love Frostworm's Fury. I think it's such a cool spell. I am the Lich King, bro. Like, I want to send Sindragosa do my bidding. So I'm happy. I want to play with Frostworm's Fury. I'm keen for this. I think it's cool. It's interesting that you're locking in a point, much like Unholy, where you lock in Army of the Dead. You are locking in Frostworm's Fury now. You have to do it. Fine. Not bad at all. Okay, so Obliterate, as I said before, it's been updated. Two-handed Obliterate is a brutal attack that deals physical and frost damage, and then for dual wield, a brutal attack with both weapons that deals a total of physical and frost damage. Kind of more of just like a tooltip thing, but as they said before, they want to try and have frost implemented in Obliterate even when it's not empowered by Killer Machine. I'm presuming just that it's a little bit less of a wet noodle hit, and a little bit less punishing when you don't get those crits. Okay, next, so you have Shattering Blade. Shattering Blade now has an additional effect. When Frostbane consumes the Razor Eye stacks on your main target, it deals an additional 250% damage instead. Finally, a little bit of prio damage, a little bit of single target damage. We love that. Happy to see this change. This is such a good change. Empower Rune Weapon is now instant and no longer a projectile. Thank the Lord. This has been the bane of this raid's existence. Anything big and all of a sudden you're playing a game at 200 ping. It is horrible. So happy to see this, and I'm sure all of you guys are too. Now across the board, most interrupts have been buffed, including Death Knights. The silence is a little bit longer, going from 3 seconds to 5 seconds now. Great. Happy to see this too. Our Frost Scythe icon has also been changed now. Devourer DHs have stolen our icon and used it for their Reap ability, so now we have a fresh new one for Frost Scythe. And then our hero talents were also changed just slightly too. So we'll start off with Deathbringer. So we have a new talent, Frigid Hunger. Upon exploding, Reaper's Mark increases your critical strike chance by 10% for 8 seconds. If that sounds familiar, that is because it comes from the set. So they've just taken elements of the set and bringing it with us into the next expansion, this being one of them. Then the next part is a brand new talent, which just increases Frost Strike damage by 5% and Glacial Advance damage by 5%. Then we have our last little node in this brand new sort of pathway that we've got called Echoing Fury. So Reaper's Mark deals 5% increased damage. Casting Frostworm's Fury grants 2 stacks of Exterminate with 100% first scythe and 100% second scythe effectiveness. This is pretty big. That is massive. That means Frostworm's Fury is going to be such a massive spell to cast. We're going to be loaded up with resources so that our pillar windows will basically never be never be dry. Except with Frost and Fury and with Reaper's Mark, we will always have something to press at the start of our pillar windows, which I think is pretty cool. Now moving on to Ride of the Apocalypse. Similarly, just like Deathbringer, the set for Rider is coming with us. So Pillar of Frost summons forth Trollbane for 6 seconds. Then you have the next node, which is casting Obliterate or Frost Scythe orders Trollbane to cast theirs at 100% effectiveness, followed by the last brand new one, which is just all abilities that Horsemen cast deal 5% increased damage. Nothing really to play here, nothing really you can actually do in terms of playing around with this. It doesn't affect much, to be honest. I'd say the Deathbringer one is way better than the Ride of the Apocalypse one. This is kind of all just passive, but then again, Ride of the Apocalypse is just more so the passive build. Okay, that wraps up basically all of the Frost DK changes. I think considering we had such a massive rework this season, I wasn't expecting much. This is the talent tree in Midnight. There's not really much of a reshuffle going on at all. You do have additional points, so you can actually go into Frostbane as well if you didn't go the Apex talent, but you definitely will be going the Apex talent, and then you can see the additional pathway in Deathbringer just there. But what do you guys think of these changes? I think it's pretty cool. I think it's going to really shuffle how we burst with the new Frostworm Fury change. I think it's big. I'm happy to be doing it. I'm happy to be a bit more thematical, with Unholy being way more thematical to their spec. I like that Frost is kind of embracing that too. So if you're interested in discussing this with me further, hop over to my Discord. I'm talking about it all the time, talking about everything DK. If you're interested in coaching, hit me up as well. But leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to stay up to date with more Death Knight stuff. And I can't wait to see you guys in Midnight. Catch you later. Bye.